Okay, so yesterday we had a little focus on Awase West Wogan, but actually the special voting, there were many issues. So COCODE, which is the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, have issued a full statement. Now, I want somebody to read it from beginning to end and emphasize on the key points. I think it's just a 1.5 page document.
It's actually 3 pages.
It's on the platform.
Yes, so the statement was issued yesterday, Tuesday, December 3, 2024. And is headed Observation of Monday's Special Voting Exercise. And I read, with your permission, it says the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, COCODE, observed the special voting exercise that the Electoral Commission, EC of Ghana, organized in 14 of the 16 regions of the country on Monday, December 2, 2024. A total of 228 COCODE observers observed the exercise in 216 constituencies throughout the country. The Electoral Commission announced on Sunday, December 1, the postponement of early voting in eastern and western regions to Thursday, December 5, due to an order to recall and reprint ballot papers after a ballot paper leaked out of the printing facility. Observers reported a generally smooth voting exercise. However, worrying incidents of vote buying by political parties and ballot photography by voters marred the exercise. So let me take you to the general findings.
General findings. Good.
COCODE observers reported a generally smooth voting exercise, as highlighted below. 81% of polling stations opened by 7:15 a.m. and 19% opened between 7:16 and 8 a.m.
Good.
At nearly all polling stations observed, agents from the National Democratic Congress (NDC) and the New Patriotic Party, it should be the New Patriotic Party, not the National Patriotic Party,
that's a mistake,
were present. Observers noted that sensitive voting materials were available at all the observed polling stations, except a few representing 4%, where there was only one biometric voter verification device (BVD) instead of two. Most, being 97% of the observed polling stations, did not face any malfunction of the BVD system throughout the day.
Wonderful.
Observers further reported that most, being 97% polling stations, were set up so voters could mark their ballot secretly.
Wonderful.
Again, most polling stations, being 93%, also had the requisite number of polling staff, 5. However, about 1/3, working up to 30%, of these polling stations had no female staff, while 43% had only one woman.
Okay.
Critical incidents, voting process incidents. The detection of a missing serial number or ballot paper numbered 000046 from the ballot booklet at Secrecy, a Contombra in the Western region, led to a minor misunderstanding at the polling station. This was caused by a missing serial number from the sequence of serial numbers in the ballot booklets. However, officials and party agents later resolved the issue, reporting a case of missing serial numbers. Now, the very concerning aspect, photographing of time-printed ballots. Observers from COCODE reported critical incidents that compromised the secrecy of the vote, such as voters taking a picture of their ballot after thumbprinting it. So the first one, at the Cape Coast North constituency in the Central region, a voter attempted to photograph their vote, but the security officials intercepted him. 2. At Ablekuma South in the Greater Accra region, a voter went into the voting booth and photographed the ballot paper showing her vote for the presidential candidate.
For
3.
what?
At Walewale in the Northeast region, a party agent and security officials intercepted a voter who photographed their vote before casting the ballot allegedly to receive money.
Look at that.
4. In Bolgatanga Central in the Upper East region, a police officer photographed their voat.
Police officer?
Yeah, police officer. The matter was subsequently reported to the police inspector on duty at the police station, the polling station. 5. At Navrongo Central, also in the Upper East region, an EC official and a police officer were seen taking pictures of their respective ballots.
EC official?
Yes. They were both taken into police custody.
Can you imagine?
Incidents of vote buy. 1. Observers reported 2 cases of alleged vote buying. At Keta, in the Volta region, some party representatives at the polling station shared money to people who voted for their candidates. 3. At the Wejagbawe constituency in the Greater Accra region, some individuals believed to be MPP party representatives were at the polling station's gate, giving out 100 and 500 Ghana cedis to voters to cast their votes for their MPP candidates. And finally, in German North, located in the Bono region, a non-uniformed police officer who doubles as a key member of the incumbent MP's security detail attempted to prevent the MPP party chairman and several representatives from sharing money. Now, this reportedly resulted in verbal attacks on the officer. Now, the incidents observed during special voting follow other similar incidents observed by COCODE in the pre-election period thus far regarding voter inducement by political parties. COCODE has also been monitoring news reports about purported instances of vote buying by the MPP, the NDC, the New Force Movement, and the Movement for Change in specific constituencies. Now, these include Ewutu Senya East in the Central Region, Ayawaso West Wogon in the Greater Accra Region, the Tema Central in the Greater Accra Region, and the Tema Central in the Greater Accra Region. In some cases, such as Ayawaso West Wogon, parliamentary candidates are seen on video circulating on social media, interacting with voters in queues within the precincts of polling stations. Now, let me deal with the concluding parts of the statement. Conclusion and recommendations. COCODE is alarmed by the observed incidents of vote buying and the photographing of cast ballots. It is concerning that some presiding officers and security officers did nothing to stop the violations. The coalition is calling on the Ghana Police Service to take swift action against all such cases, including those reported in the media. As a matter of urgency, the EC and the National Election Security Task Force must issue strict directives to presiding officers and security officers on what actions to take when they witness election offences. Now, this will help forestall similar occurrences during the December 7 polls. COCODE urges the Ghana Police Service to update the public on any such actions. COCODE acknowledges the interest taken by the Office of the Special Prosecutor in these matters. COCODE calls on all political parties to refrain from these practices, which are deeply damaging to the integrity of the electoral process, and on voters to refuse any attempts of inducement and freely express their right to vote on December 7. COCODE commends the EC and stakeholders for a generally smooth exercise. The coalition urges the Commission to ensure that voting on December 7 takes place smoothly, fairly, and freely. Signed, Mr. Albert Ahin, COCODE National Coordinator. And in case you don't know about COCODE, COCODE is an independent and non-partisan network of civil society groups, faith-based organizations, and professional bodies which observe Ghanaian elections. It was established in 2000 under the auspices of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, to mobilize citizens of Ghana to participate in the electoral process actively and to complement the efforts of Ghana's Electoral Commission in ensuring transparent, free, fair, and peaceful elections. The coalition of 42 member organizations has grown to become the largest and most credible domestic election observer body in Ghana, which mobilizes citizens and groups to participate in Ghana's electoral process. Thank you.
Wonderful. So COCODE, with that summary, comprehensive, touching various areas, good summary in the beginning, and some recommendations. Photographing of ballots, votes, inducements, 2 key issues. Godfred.
Yeah.
And it seems as if, of course, we have so many polling stations in Ghana, and the incidents reported probably less than 20.
Okay.
So you could say that you can't say it's widespread, but it is worrying to see the ones that occurred, the way they did it. All right, because generally, I think from reading the report, generally the thing went well.
Yeah.
All right, and this is not like it happened everywhere, which is why it's a big story. So can we generally say that the voting went well, but then the isolated incidents reported in this report should be concerning?
Yeah, but that's the point I've always made to you when it comes to the growth of our democracy. You know, that people still think they can use money to get a certain outcome in the ballot box, which I guess is also why people are photographing their ballots, because they need to show. But
to show working.
But my disappointment again lies with the fact with a group of people who were voting on Monday. You had security officers, you had sections of the media voting,
and then EC
officials also voting. So why would these people be accepting money? Because if you are accepting money to cast your vote, you are also the same person who is supposed to enforce the law on Saturday. You get it? It's a bit. It doesn't send the right message. Okay, so we have a lot of work to do to build our democracy properly. Not just in terms of we voted and then we've counted and we've gone home, but in terms of letting people understand that this is not supposed to happen. You can't do this. Show up, put your phone down, vote, go home, don't collect money from anybody. The second one, let me just open the COCODE statement. I'm a bit worried again because I haven't heard from the EC. I really want to hear from the EC, and I'm applying pressure on this because they are the ones who are handling the election. Okay, so when these incidents come up, we need them to explain what happened, what were their officials doing. Okay, what are the next steps based on the lessons that we have learned? Because it happened on Monday. You have 5 days to pick up a lesson and send out an instruction that, okay, we no longer want to see A, B, C, D. So if you look at the incidents of vote buying, at Keta in the Volta region, some party representatives at the polling station shared money to people who voted for their candidates. What is the EC's position on this matter? What happened? What were the EC officials who were there doing? Did they alert other people and say, hey, pick this person up? Or because these people were security officials, is police arresting police, or police arresting immigration, or immigration arresting GRA? Which one is it? You know, says at Wija Bawe, some individuals believed to be MPP party representatives were at the polling station's gate. So they didn't enter. They were at the gate giving out money. 100 and 500 cedis was horrible. In German North, located in the Bono, a non-uniformed police officer was in an argument with the NPP party chairman and several representatives from sharing money. This reportedly resulted in verbal attacks. Then, of course, there was the Ayawaso West Wogon incident that we all saw.
It's interesting they described it as officials of the party interacting with voters in the queue. They didn't mention the handing out of food. They said they saw a video of the candidates and some persons in the party interacting with the voters in a queue.
See, and what I like about
must have been the video they've seen.
That's my point.
Yeah,
of course, you said interacting with the voter in a queue is not even allowed.
It's not allowed.
Yeah, but I'm saying that they stopped short of saying that they gave them food, although we saw that they were giving them food.
Yes.
I'm wondering why they didn't add that. And also, they
reported their names and shames, which I like.
No, hold on. COCODE didn't. There are people in how many constituencies based on the report?
215.
Yeah.
Okay, so they probably are not there because they didn't report this as what they saw. They said this is what is circulating in the media.
Yes. So they also go on to talk about purported instances of vote buying by the NPP, by the NDC, the new force. The new force is buying vote.
they basically say everybody because they say NDC, MPP, and then they mention
the movement for
but
change.
They didn't mention the specific places
in specific constituencies.
Why didn't they mention the constituencies?
They then say these include Otusenya East in the Central region, Ayawaso West Wogon in the Greater Accra, and Chama Central in the Greater Accra region. Some cases such as Ayawaso West Wogon, parliamentary candidates are seen in videos circulating on social media interacting with voters in queues within the precincts of the polling station. So again, back to the EC. We need the EC to clearly come out alongside the election task force and say, look, on Saturday, they cordon off the place. Once you enter where the desk is, where the voting booths are, you are in your queues, you and your God. vote and go home. Don't interact with people. And they should punish. You see, it's always been the thing. When what has happened to the gentleman who was picked up distributing money at was it one of the primaries? Forgot what his name was.
I think OSP said they're investigating it. OSP is investigating.
For how long?
I don't know.
How long? You see, so nobody actually gets punished.
Yeah.
So people will continue to do this.
People have even normalized it.
Yeah, it's very normal. Out of the goodness of their heart. People are doing things there. Okay, so I think we really need the EC to up their game. I wish I could say the people who go and vote on Saturday should behave themselves, but we know they won't.
Some won't.
We know those who collect will collect. Yeah. So don't create the environment for them to give so that people will take. Don't create the environment for them to interact. EC should be strict. Don't talk to people in the queue. Candidates we know are supposed to be at a certain distance from voters. Let them be there. When a voter enters, candidates don't talk to voters.
Simple.
If we see you talking to a voter, we will not let. We'll do A, B, C, and D.
We'll remove it from your result.
I'm just saying they have things they can do.
Take it from your salary.
They have things they can do.
But so
they should be strict.
The other point about the EC officials who are also involved in this, could it be that because some of these guys are hired, they don't work for the EC, they are basically trained to do a service for the EC on voting day?
But it's your responsibility. You hired the person. It does not matter if the person is on
I'm
contract.
not an excuse. I'm just wondering, when we said EC officials also take photographing there.
Yeah, but for me, my concern from what I saw on Monday just basically is the lack of resistance from the EC.
They didn't visit us their case.
It's like
we were protecting the.
As for us,
ballot paper.
Ours is to take the open the register, take your BVD, make sure you vote. Anything else is not our business.
Whereas the precincts of the.
But everything within that arena is under your control. It's your responsibility, and we want them to wake up to that responsibility. That is all I'm asking. Wake up, EC.
Is there
to your responsibility.
law that specifies what is allowed and not allowed at a polling station? Because some people say the photography thing is not explicitly stated in our law.
Please,
Richard Sky read the law to you yesterday.
You explained the treatment.
I explained
he explained the second one to you. He explained it to you yesterday.
The law constitution requires secrecy of the ballot. And that is being enforced and implemented by the PNDC law 284 I read to you.
So if you take a photo, you are violating the law of secrecy.
Yeah, because by reason of, you see, the law says you should not disclose
your vote.
You should not, you may
but
go
what
and
the
tell
person says, I take the photo for myself.
No. I mean, you can't.
No,
I know who you voted take it for yourself.
Help me. I'm not debating. I want to understand.
Okay.
When it came to giving food and money,
treating meat,
you explained it nicely.
Yes.
But the picture of my ballot,
yes,
which I don't share, is it also an offense?
No, it's secrecy. Secrecy is secrecy. The reason you are taking it is to share it.
No, I want to keep it in my
No.
So why is the voting booth a booth?
Yeah.
Why is it covered?
Nobody will see how you voted.
Exactly. So you might as well just let it be an open table. You vote and then you show it. Yay!
No.
Then you go. There are rules around
the
it.
reason why we insist on secrecy, and the framers wanted that, is that you can become a target for persecution
based on the decision.
Based on the decision you have gone to make in the booth.
Okay.
You understand? So then, in order to prevent that, to ensure that people freely exercise their will, I want to vote for Bernard, I want to vote for Godfred. I have to go in there and make that decision freely. I may have gone to tell Godfred I'll vote for him, but in the booth, it's between me and my God. So I decide based on what I believe is in the very best interest of myself and my country, right? Regardless of whatever promises I may have made to him. But you see, what is happening now is people are using money and other inducements to get people to make decisions they will otherwise have avoided. Just because they will be given a token or meat or chicken or something like that. And that is where the danger is. Because what we want done to our democracy is not that we sell it to the highest bidder. We want people to reflect over their own personal circumstances and make decisions they believe represent their very best interest.
So if I get the two of you, He's saying, easy, take charge of your space. You are saying there must be consequence for the violation to make an example of people.
You see, because most likely the person who is taking the photo has been induced.
Yes, that's what it is.
Most likely.
So he wants to show evidence.
Yes, because without evidence you can't get paid.
It's a two-way street.
Without evidence,
yes. So you see, normally, let me tell you from some experience in Parliament. You see, recently MPs voted on a number of issues, and you saw that the General Secretary of the NDC had a way of evidencing how some people voted. You know, some MPP people too also did that. Now, why were they doing that? Because for the NDC, they were about going into a primary election, and the party wanted to enforce rigorously the party's position that you were to go and oppose this matter.
All right.
If you do not oppose it, or you did not oppose it, we will campaign at the grassroots for you to be voted out. Now, people realize that, look, their seats were under siege. So, although MPs, by our law, ideally should go into Parliament and deliberate on matters and decide on them on the basis of what they believe is in the very best interest of their people. They went into the chamber well aware of the looming consequences or the likely consequences of what the party would do to them in their constituencies if they did not vote in a certain way.
Which is why they were trying to do
So when they went in to vote, they carried their phones, they were recording the videos, they were thumbprinting.
So even the MPs were violating.
Even members of Parliament.
In parliamentary voting.
When the law says you should not do that, when the practice and rules of the House demand that you should be of a certain standard.
Let me ask you, when they say the ayes have it, it's also a vote.
Yeah, it is.
And they do voice vote.
Yeah.
But that was not secret.
Yeah, in that, so there are provisions in the rule book that require secrecy of the ballot, and there are provisions where you can.
So for some votes, voice vote is okay. It doesn't have to be secret.
Exactly.
But for some votes, you have to be secret.
Exactly.
I see. And you are saying that if MPs can even violate that, it's not surprising that people in voting, normal Ghanaians do this.
Exactly.
Do you think we should be concerned about security officials taking part in these things?
Yeah, because you see the EC, so that deals with Godfrey's pressure on the Electoral Commission. I understand his point. He's perfect. He's gone all out against the Electoral Commission that they should do something about it. But they can only do so much. It is not the job of the the Electoral Commission to arrest a person taking photograph of his ballot in the voting booth. That job is specifically prescribed for the police officer on duty to effect the arrest.
His colleagues are taking the picture.
And his colleagues are taking the picture. Now, that is not to say that a police officer cannot arrest a police officer. Where a police officer is caught doing the wrong thing, and the requirements of the law is that he be apprehended, and another officer on duty can effect that arrest.
On whose order?
No,
EC?
No, EC basically can report that, please, this man has done A, B, C, D. I'm reporting him to you. So the police officer there can effect the arrest. Now, the question will be where the person is a superior officer to the one.
Let me ask you a question. The secrecy of the ballot, it's a right?
It's not a right. It's a constitutional imposition.
Read it for me.
Where's the
because you see,
constitution?
I think the reason the secret, and I'm not saying people should take photographs, I'm trying to get some clarity.
Okay.
The reason they put it in a booth is that they don't want to endanger Caleb when he votes.
That's true.
So he's in a booth to vote so that his secrecy is preserved. It is his right to secrecy. Now, if Caleb decides not to
exercise
that secrecy, is it a violation? Which I'm saying that let's be careful between a right and an injunction of the constitution.
So hold on, let me ask a question. Let me ask a further question before Asker is looking for it.
Okay.
So if Caleb decides that in the process of voting, he collects his ballot paper, goes to the booth where the ink is, puts his whichever finger in the ink, but walks out of the booth with the sheet of paper, stands in the middle of the polling area, and then thumbprints it, and then folds it and goes. Has he violated the law?
Yes, because you are not supposed to campaign or do anything to influence another voter in the queue. So in that instance, his decision to show how he's voting in the full glare of the public is basically telling people that my vote my way. It's not the same as, and again, listeners, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying people should take pictures. We are trying to get clarity.
Make your point.
The example you gave is a good example of somebody basically displaying at a polling station who he voted for.
He's showing you the person he voted for.
Yes.
The law gives him the right to secrecy.
I get
and
it.
the right not to be secret too.
But he also has other responsibilities around the voting space. Yesterday, this guy told us that if you are voting and somebody's in a queue, you don't try to influence the person. So influence money, food, water, or even by the way you vote is all influence.
How will you determine that?
But if I go and stand in front of everybody and say I'm voting Asieho, and I'm showing everybody, it means I'm telling them that, basically communicating my vote to them.
So what's the difference between that
and taking a photo?
I take a photo and go out there and show the photo again.
See, that's what I'm saying. Again, please don't misunderstand, because I know
Ghanaians. No, misunderstanding. We are trying to understand each other.
I need to issue the caveat because some people are not reasonable. I'm trying to create that. I'm saying that if you go and vote in a booth and then you go outside, so you take a photo of your ballot, and then you go a week later.
No, not a week later.
Or you go somewhere outside the precincts of the polling station.
No, I take a photo.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You see,
it's on my phone.
We have to understand. We want to understand why is that provision there.
Yeah, you see.
And I'm saying that if the provision is a right, can't a right be waived?
No.
And if a right, because I have a right to.
It's a legitimate question.
I have a right. I have a right of rejoinder, and I choose not to exercise it. So it's like Caleb has written an article against me, and I have a right of rejoinder, and I'm saying that even though I recognize that right, I waive the right. Can you prosecute me for waiving that right?
No, you see, the question is not so much a question of waiving a right. It's a question of what is likely to be the result of you deciding to waive a right. The consequences of that. Let okay. So if
the right accrues to me, the consequence should be borne by me.
No, hold on. You see, you can make the right argument.
Yes.
But it falls at a certain point, because
Explain.
when you make that argument as a standalone argument, then you ignore the public policy considerations that went into the decision to ensure that there is secrecy of the ballot. As I said, in the case of the members of parliament, what were the overriding considerations that drove them to now thumbprint and then record the same? They knew that it was their right to do whatever they were doing in secret, but the overarching consideration was that the overarching consideration was that, look, if we do not show this vote to the general secretary who is on WhatsApp saying that, okay, Honorable Zaneto, yes, we have seen you.
So that will be inducement. But I'm saying that you see, this is what you're saying. So it means we at best we can deal with it on case by case. So if Godfrey takes a photo of his ballot with the intention to show it to Nathan to prove that he voted for Sky, and then take 50 Ghana cedis, he's waiving that right because he wants to use the photograph to do voter inducement or to collect money for voting. But I'm saying that simplicity. My understanding of the secrecy of the ballot, it is guaranteed for the voter.
Yes.
No.
The secrecy of the ballot, unless you're telling me the secrecy is for all the people.
You see, Bernard. Bernard, that is to be speaking half truth.
No. Sky,
he's stating.
Sky, you see, Sky, you are not being fair to me. I am saying that. You see, and listeners, we want to develop our country. Yesterday, you explained very carefully to me what treatment was.
Yes.
And based on your explanation, in my interview, I was very strident.
Yes.
Because you said treatment based on the PNDC law you quoted was very clear. In the queue, during voting, after voting, don't try and induce, whether with food, water, whatever. It was very clear. And I'm saying that the provision for security of the ballot, when I see it in the Constitution, maybe we'll find it whilst we discuss.
That's why I have it. So
I see it as a right, because people can be victimized for. Let's assume I'm in Bantama and I want to vote for NDC. In those days where it was anathema to be NDC in some part of Kumasi, if the secrecy of the ballot is not guaranteed, they say, we are going to vote NDC, they will beat you. So they put me in the booth
to ensure that one.
So it's a right.
Yes.
To protect me Fine. Now we also know as a way of convention, and we also know, which is why I even think that COCODE in their statement should have even explained why the photography was wrong, because COCODE sort of made reference to the photography and then the inducement as a matter of assumed knowledge.
Yeah,
I would have preferred COCODE to say the photography of their ballot violated this or that. They did not do this. Okay. Now I'm saying that right was put there to protect me, who's voting possibly in a hostile environment. Now, if the person believes that,
no, that's not all there is to it. You see, that's why I said that. That falls. It falls where. Okay, let me read the provision.
Read the provision.
Secrecy. Requirement of secrecy. That is under.
Have you found it?
Yeah.
Also, because I want to share a case from the US with you.
Okay.
Good.
That might add.
Okay.
Something
Voting
to the
at public.
Today I'm a difficult student.
You see.
Because somebody took this to court in the US.
You see, Section 13 says voting at public elections.
Good. Section 13 of what?
Section 13 of PNDC Law 284.
Okay, this is the law on. Okay. Section 13.
So yeah, it says that. So this is the first provision I'm quoting.
Section 13. Okay.
It says that one, at a public election, voting shall be by secret ballot.
Okay. At a public
election,
voting shall be by secret ballot.
So it is an imposition.
Read the next thing. Don't leave it there. Is it just continue?
That's what I'm saying. So no, I'm just
yes,
reading
that one
clearly.
Yes.
So it shall be. It is not. It may be.
No, why?
It shall be.
Why shall
now,
it be?
I will give you the other provisions, but that is that the certainty of the law is clear.
No, continue.
Okay, so now let's go to.
Because I also want to consider provision.
There, I will read that to you.
Because you yourself have spoken about hierarchy of the laws, right?
Yeah.
So PNDC law is good, but constitution is better.
So now 2 says 31(2), the requirement of secrecy, right?
Constitution, Article 31.
No, I'm not reading the article. I'm still reading the PNDC law.
I need the constitutional provision on voting.
No, constitutional provision doesn't criminalize. It's only in very limited cases.
Yeah, I just want to read it. So show me the place. So
let me finish with this one. Then you read the constitutional provision. Go into the 40s. Okay, so every person present at the counting of votes shall maintain and help in maintaining the secrecy of voting, and shall not communicate any information obtained at the counting of the votes as to the candidate. Oh, the thing moved. Where your
digital? Digital. Paper and pen. We say like paper. Everything computer.
I'll show your laptop.
Laptop.
Read what you want to read.
You read what.
Let me, because what I was trying to say. So the issue of ballot selfies. So ballot selfies. Ballot selfies emerged as an issue in the US, and the right to cast a secret ballot, which has been a mainstay of the US governance systems for over 100 years. So it became an issue. Now, 44 states have constitutional provisions that guarantee secrecy in voting, and the remaining states have statutory provisions to do so. But however, in the past 10 years, the advent of social media has changed that. So the law was challenged. Now, New Hampshire passed the law prohibiting ballot selfies in 2014.
Okay.
Now, they passed the law that took it a step further by explicitly prohibiting voters from taking a digital image of a marked ballot and distributing it on social media. So they passed an additional law to what already existed. Now, the law was challenged in federal court and ruled unconstitutional as a violation of the First Amendment's right to free speech. And it's similar to the argument Bernard is making here. So in effect, being able to take and share a ballot selfie is constitutionally protected political speech that can be restricted only by meeting the highest standards of constitutional scrutiny. So what has happened in the US now is there are 14 states where ballot selfies are prohibited.
14.
Yes. Okay. And then there are 11 states where they are permitted.
I see.
Now, in 6 states, ballot selfies are prohibited for in-person voting. And then ballot selfies are likely permitted based on official guidance or court rulings in 9 states.
Wonderful. So it means even in the US,
It's a conversation.
They construe ballot selfies as a modern phenomenon. Therefore, states have to decide independently. Now, Sky, let me go to constitution. I think you are right, though. Constitution. Let me read constitution. So, I am in voting at elections and referenda. So this is 49.1. I hope I'm in the right place.
Yeah, it's in the 40s here. So that's
49.1.
Yes.
So, at any public election or referendum, voting shall be by secret ballot. 2. Immediately after the close of the poll, the presiding officer shall, in the presence of such of the candidates or their representatives and their polling agents as are present, proceed to count at the polling station the ballot papers of the station and record the vote cast in favor of each candidate. So this 49.1 is a repetition of the PNDC law. And your point is that the word shall means that you are enjoined to do it.
No, you see, the PNDC law goes further.
What
And
does
that's
it
the provision I want to read for you before Caleb's laptop ruled. No. Section 31 on
It's not your laptop. It's Caleb's laptop.
Now I'm reading my own laptop. Section 31, subsection 1 says, every election officer, clerk, interpreter, candidate, election agent or polling agent on duty at the polling station shall maintain and help in maintaining the secrecy of voting, and shall not, except for a purpose authorized by law, so underline that, communicate to any person any information as to A, the name of a voter who has not applied for a ballot paper or voted at a polling station, or B, the number of the register of a voter, the number on the register of a voter who has or has not applied for a ballot paper or voted at a polling station, or C, the official mark. Now let me take you to 2. Every person present at the counting of votes shall maintain and help in maintaining the secrecy of voting, and shall not communicate any information obtained at the counting of the votes as to the candidate for whom a vote is given on any particular ballot paper.
All right.
3 says, hold on, allow me please. No person shall, and this is the very important one, interfere with or attempt to interfere with a voter when recording his vote, or read it up, or her vote. Or
the recording where they use Christ is a bad word.
You're
Casting your vote, and was he recording your vote?
recording.
Yeah. If I'm recording my vote, don't interfere with me.
B. Obtain or attempt to obtain in a polling station information about the candidate for whom a voter in that station is about to vote or has voted. So, for instance, if you go to a polling station and I'm voting, and you decide to use a drone, right, zooming over me, trying to record who I am voting for, that provision, in my respectful view, deals with that situation. Now, C, communicate at any time to any person any information obtained in a polling station about the candidate. So, in that case, you are moving on now, for whom a voter in that station has voted or is about to vote, or about the number, if any, on the ballot paper given to a voter at that station. So then you have recorded, you have filmed what I am doing in the booth. Now you have moved on from there to now share it with, say, Bernard. So Bernard is the candidate, one of the candidates in COCODE. Yes. So we've gone to tell Bernard that this man came to your house yesterday. He's going to vote. He hasn't voted for you. That is
so everything you have said is true. All I'm saying is,
hold on, let me finish.
All of this is meant to protect
Bernard.
the
Wait,
person doing the voting.
Bernard, wait.
Why? No, wait. Okay, go on.
The final one. D. Directly or indirectly induce a voter to display his ballot paper, right, after he has marked or selected it, as to make known to another person the name of the candidate for whom
Fair enough.
he has or has not voted. You get it?
I get everything you said.
So when you read all of these provisions put together, the framers, in my respectful view,
I like that.
were not,
in your respective view.
yes, we're not simply saying that, oh, Godfred is protected to vote in secrecy. There must have been public policy considerations that drove them to come to the conclusion that beyond protecting the person voting, there are things that people are likely to do if we allow them to display the ballot.
Fair enough. Look, I won't sit on public radio and endorse the misbehavior of people. But I just wanted to test the clarity of the thing you said. That my view was that if something is a crime, the punishment will be explicit. There's no explicit punishment for this.
No, there is punishment.
At best,
you get
what
at
I
least
see is
2 years. Yes.
2 years.
Yes, 2 years. Yeah,
no,
there's
the 2
punishment.
years apply to the thing.
No. So there's an omnibus provision that
No,
says
a punishment for displaying of ballot.
yes. So there's an omnibus provision. I
Right?
read that to you. Yes.
Is it what?
So it's a provision that applies to all
Because
the
when
offenses.
you read it, it was about treatment and
Bernard,
also about inducement.
hold on. You see, when it
Because
says,
you see, what I'm just saying is that maybe we need some clarity. You know why I'm saying this?
hold on.
You see, skyway. Public display of your ballot is wrong based on what you've read. I'm not arguing with that. I'm talking about photographing.
A digital
You
image.
see, because Sky, that's what I'm saying. That you see, sometimes because technology comes after certain things are done. If somebody takes a photo of his
need to
ballot for his
update.
personal use, for his personal record,
How?
you see, he I'm coming. Everything you read suggests that the ballot must be secret, and I don't dispute that. I am saying that if somebody takes a phone into a polling booth and photographs his thumb printing of his voting
Yes.
and keeps it on his phone,
Why? Didn't you know who you voted for?
that's the second question. But hold on, like we are learning. That's not right. We are educating the public. Does that very act mean that the ballot is not secret?
You see, so there are two things that come in here. When you are proving criminal conduct, right, or criminal, like something that is punishable by the courts, there are two things you must prove generally: the unlawful conduct, the conduct that we say is wrong, and the intent,
Good,
which is the criminal intent.
no problem.
So you see, you can argue the theoretical view that, oh yes, I just took the photograph for my own records.
Why is that theoretical?
That's the person's view.
That is the person.
No, you can.
He's
argue
explaining
a view.
intent here.
Yeah,
No,
that's
he's
right.
weakening the view.
No.
By calling it theoretical. It's a practical view.
Okay, because I don't know how many people just go to a booth and say, I'm recording it just for my own use. There is a reason. So that you see, so then you then move to the intent aspect
So
of
is
things.
the act of photographing your vote
That is
an offense?
So that is the conduct complained of. That is the act that we are complaining of. But you see, it can only be found to be criminal when the intent behind it, the reason you did it.
How do you prove my intent?
Oh, so sometimes you can infer intent.
You can assume it.
No. So the surrounding circumstances will tell. So Bernard, yesterday somebody came to your house and told you that if you go there, you don't vote for me, I'm ejecting you, or I am, selling your car, or I'm recalling your car, or I will not make you work
can't
at
prove
Citi.
any of those things.
That
So
is
maybe I just wanted to photograph my ballot to see how my thumb looks on the ballot sheet. And I
wait,
kept it on my phone.
it's also
As an example.
So Bernard, that's what I'm saying. That is
Maybe
just
you guys should go to court and get clarity on usage of mobile.
Or amend the
phones.
law.
Yes, you see, what I'm just saying this because I'm sure one day somebody will get up and say that arresting him for taking a photo of his ballot is unlawful, because as Godfrey just read to you, in about 14 US states, the matter had to actually be decided, because if it was that straightforward, there wouldn't be this division in the US about
no.
it.
You see, I understand the argument you make that we should test it.
Yeah, we should do.
But you see,
So that we are certain.
No, you see, but I'm saying that from what you have said, the simple act of taking a photograph, if it is
my
confined for your
own-
purpose of all, your person, you want to know about it.
Yes.
It is theoretically possible to argue.
Because maybe I have dementia, so I want to remember when I get home who I voted for.
So you're not of sound mind to be voting.
Dementia is not. Dementia is not. No. Dementia is not.
It does not prohibit you
It's
from
not
voting.
a mental condition prevents you from voting.
That's
It's not.
okay.
Yes, it's not. It's not a. Listen, sometimes we need to do academic arguments, but you see, for me, I don't want us to assume anything.
It's
All
true.
right? And I think that what COCODE could have done in addition to what he said was that we know inducements is wrong, and that security officials who are supposed to help maintain law and order in electoral area should not do such things. But I think that the reasoning you gave for the importance of the secrecy has to be highlighted.
Yes, that's
for people to understand that in such a situation, photographing your ballot is not helpful, because beyond the violation of secrecy, it also can lead to inducement, or it can be you being a culprit in being induced.
exactly.
See, so listeners, please don't go and photograph your ballot and say, Bernard, let's say you can photograph it. That's not what I'm saying. I just wanted Sky to give me some meat, but I'm going to read a couple of comments for you, and then to underscore the seriousness of this issue of security officials doing what they did. So this person was an observer. Now he says I should not mention his name.
But
So I won't mention his name. On the issue of sharing food for the special voting, there's another side.
okay.
I was in the central region.
Okay.
When they went to give food to their polling agents, senior officials of security agencies were fighting over the food, trying to snatch it from the party officials. Please don't mention my name. I beg. It happens all the time. They were sharing food to agents, and security people said, "Give me my portion."
Rice and chicken.
You see, Bernard, you see, the reason why, again,
Oh, hold on before you come in. No, hold on.
It's
Okay.
very sad.
You see, because of the argument you have made, let me make
Very
what
sad.
might seem to people to be a far-fetched argument, but it's likely to be a formidable defense that someone can put up. That, I am generally a kind person. Right? I'm generally kind.
Don't go there.
No, hold on. You see, you are out of the goodness of my heart.
What are you saying?
No, wait.
As a mother
As
to the
a
constituency.
mother of this constituency, I have always shared food with security
All
people.
the time.
I have always
But
shared
you can't
food.
do it in
No,
the
hold
presence of a voting.
no, hold on.
Yesterday we dealt with that issue.
No, hold on. I'm saying, you see, it's the
Not
same
that
issue.
issue.
It's the same
No,
issue.
it's not the same issue.
Hold on,
Yesterday you treated treatment.
Hold on.
So the treatment is
No,
clear.
you see-
It's a decided matter.
No, hold on.
Don't go back. there.
Better allow me. The reason is that, you see, when you deconstruct the provision that criminalizes treating, just like this one,
Yes, treating.
yes, there are elements of the offense that you must satisfy, right? So the prosecutor must prove, first of all, the conduct complained of actually happened, right?
It was captured.
Exactly. In fact, I broke it down.
And but you see, I get what you're saying. By Sky, to the extent that this was a cue for people to vote, and we said that. You said
Yes.
treating
Yes.
is before, during, and after.
Yes.
With the likelihood of influence.
You say,
So your kindness notwithstanding, if somebody is about to vote and you stand in the queue, 4 steps to the booth to give the person food, your kindness notwithstanding, it is very clear, or we are reasonable, I'll use your word, we can reasonably conclude and infer that you are treating.
but I want clarity on the message. Was the food being fought by persons
So this person-
in the queue or by those who were supervising?
The person didn't clarify, but the person said some people went to give food to some agents,
Yes.
and security people too were fighting for some of the food.
So if the intention was not to give them, to tell them that go and vote,
Because
for
by
me.
the way, giving food to your agent is not an offense.
Yes.
No.
Because after the
They
agent,
must
he's
be
working for you.
Yes.
Yes.
So giving it to the officer, the police officer, although he's in a queue to vote,
No,
without
they
telling,
said, no, they said we're giving agents, and the
Yes,
officer,
they're going to feed their
security
agents.
people say they
And
go
the
for-
so you see, in that case, the person is likely to argue that, look, I'm kind. The people came to me and asked for food. I simply gave it out without even instructing them as to whether they should vote for this person or that person.
No, you're talking about in the case I read.
Yeah, that's
In
exactly
this
what
case-
I'm saying.
Okay.
But the
So
food
it-
was originally meant for party agents.
That's okay. It's similar to what we are talking about. that, oh, I just gave the food out.
Because your agent
I did not intend to, and it is not possible to infer that I intended to influence their decision.
But in the queue, you see, this is the thing. You have to be careful here. This party agent you are feeding,
yes.
Whatever you are, you are a lawyer telling me, whatever you are doing around the polling,
I told you I'm making an argument.
The intention of the law is to prevent influencing people on their way to vote during the vote and after the vote. So you said there's the action and the intention and the consequence of the action. Yes. So in the example this person gave, the person didn't say that they were at the polling booth. They just said they were giving food to agents, and the security there to say they want to chop some.
Yes.
And it became a butu fight.
Yes.
So in that case, maybe the person giving the food to his agent, in fact, the security guy took the food by force because he's fighting for food. So it's not like I give you food. So if I'm giving Nathan food and Caleb and Sky come and fight over the food, you can't blame me for giving Nathan food because you came to fight to collect the food I'm giving Nathan. So that one is not my problem. But we are saying you are in a queue going to vote and I give you food. That one you are treating.
Oh, hold on. You see, that's why I told you that the elements of the offense, sometimes it becomes tricky. There must be proof that you intended to influence my choice in the booth. Do you understand?
Yeah, but that one they can do it. But okay, so you are saying that for every instance of food sharing and money sharing, so I can even say that I give money to the person, but I didn't intend to influence his vote.
No, you see,
that's what we can all say.
That's why I said
we can go and give somebody money for the booth and say, based on what you are saying,
hold on,
we can't prove that I was giving money for his mother's funeral. So go and take the money.
You see, Bernard, hold on. You see, listen to me in the round. That's why I said that the law allows for a judge to infer intent. So the surrounding circumstances would lead a reasonable judge, properly directed, to come to a conclusion that no, this matter cannot be genuineness of the heart, but flowed from a certain malicious intent to actually lead to a certain conclusion.
So that's why the special prosecutor has to go to court. You see, that life is beautiful. You can go and charge somebody for something.
Yes.
The hard work begins with the case you make and prove it.
Every element
so
must be proven.
We have not crucified. We are basically stating the law and putting it to you.
Exactly.
But the real work begins with the special prosecutor or whoever is going to do this thing to say, look, this is the evidence we have, and this is why we think you should be prosecuted. There are people you can see doing something, but you don't have enough evidence to prosecute them. So the law is not like simple. Otherwise, judges don't have a job to do. You will spend 6 years learning the law. So let's read some quick comments and move to something. So Nathan, I don't know what you make or what comments are coming through on this this legal gymnastics we are playing here.
When it comes to matters of the law, I usually like to first get an understanding of what the law says before I state a position.
Let me read something somebody said. He says, Bernard, you see, the difficulty Richard is facing is that when the law was made, there were no cell phones. The problem now is that vote buying can be induced by knowledge of the fact that one can prove it. That is, if you prove to me that you voted for me, I'll reward you. However, if the EC announces that Party A wins at a polling station by, say, 10 votes, and Party B can produce a number of voters with pictures of their ballots exceeding the EC's announcement, can you imagine the confusion that will arise? So it's like,
it is true.
So maybe 10 people voted in the polling station. 6 of them voted for me, 4 voted for Sky. When they counted, they say Sky got 8 and I got 2. The 6 who voted for me all took a picture of themselves voting.
So which means in that case,
there's a timestamp.
So which means in that case,
EC O'Malley. You see that thing? So Charlie, sometimes technology can confuse things, so we have to be careful. Anyway, so Nathan, read some more comments for us.
Yes, Gloria Dedekosilati from Asinfosu says, I beg, I know they knew the number of polling agents they had at the center. How come they didn't go with that number with at least 4 extra? But the food was so much that they had to cover more than 4 people in the queue. So that's her own analysis of the matter. This one says, Sky's emphasis on every word he reads makes comprehension tricky. In my respectful view.
Oh, I see. Forgive me.
Courage Incorporated says, what can possibly be the personal use of a photo of my own ballot? I'm confused.
To remind myself when I forget.
Maybe you want to frame it and put it in your hall.
No, I just
you remember who you voted for?
I gave you a classic example. Maybe I have dementia. So I want to remember next week that I actually voted for the candidate I said I'll vote for. So I'll console myself that I did the right thing.
Kwame Bill Gates from Adenta says, if I take a picture of my vote, what offense in law have I committed? If somebody tries to prosecute me, wouldn't that be intrusion of privacy?
Because you know the other thing is Sky, when I am in the booth, I deserve privacy.
Yes.
So whatever I do there, you can't know.
No,
So if you say you know, you are violating my privacy.
No, but you see, so again, then that takes.
We
you
know
to-
because you share the picture.
Hold on.
I haven't shared the
hold
picture.
on, hold on. You see, Bernard. You see, okay. Let me just settle this.
Settle it for me.
What I'm saying is that
Yes.
if you go into the booth
Yes.
and you film yourself, right?
Photo, not photo.
You photo yourself
Yes.
voting for, say, party A or party B.
Yes.
That is just one leg of the offense having been committed, right?
second leg is
the
what I
second
do with
leg
it.
is what you do with
Thank
it.
you.
So you can film it and go and put it in your room or whatever you want to do.
Yes.
Once you have not shown it to Godfred or some other person as to
Yeah.
do the things, and then maybe
Or
then
can the EC say, put your phone?
they can do that.
So if I do what the EC can do, we can create a phone table next to the polling booth. So when you go, you put your phone down and you vote. When you finish, you take your phone and go home.
and you see,
You get it? They make it easier.
Well,
So like
well,
this is a
well.
phone table. When you get there, your phone pocket is bulky. You put the phone here.
can they manage that?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I think they can manage it.
Yeah.
This is one person voting at
Sky,
a time.
if I put a small table next to the polling,
I say put your phone here.
put your phone here, enter the booth, vote. When you finish, put your phone
So
in the
then they
pocket.
give, like, you know, when you go to some offices,
They'll
they
give you a
write
basket.
1, 2, 3, 4 on
No,
something.
No,
sir,
no,
not a locker,
They'll
it's just a
give you a-
small
Not a
table
locker, not a
by-
locker.
by the polling booth.
You are in a polling booth.
Okay.
Put a small table next to the polling booth. So Sky puts his 2 phones on it. He enters the booth and votes. When he comes out, he takes his phone. Puts
Then
it
you
in
must first know how many phones the person has on.
No problem. So
But then
declare all
you
your
can take
phones.
the phones.
No, what I'm saying is that you must first know. So if I have 2 phones, then I give you one.
You don't get it. The thing is, before you vote, so there's no mixture.
No, hold, Bernard. What you are not? I'm saying that I have 2 phones.
Ah,
I give you one. That this
Okay.
is my phone, and I keep the other
oh,
one.
this
I
is
go
this
to
is
the.
in good faith.
You see. So then you see, you must be able to enforce it.
It will be too much.
So that's where the problem comes. in.
Let's
Okay,
continue.
so after these comments.
Yes.
All right. Stephen Moscow says, while individuals have the right to discuss their votes, they must also understand the potential consequences. The country is responsible for preventing election violence.
Public policy.
So citizens should balance their personal rights with social responsibility.
This is from who?
Stephen Moscow.
He's writing from Moscow.
That's the
Yeah,
public policy.
yeah.
Thinking very correct. Moscow.
Yes.
Read Moscow again.
Yeah, Moscow is making sense.
Yes. Yesterday, Bernard, I disagreed with Steve from Moscow. No, sorry, Godfred, rather.
Yeah,
He
but
disagreed
today we
with
agree
Steve.
with
Today
Steve
we
from
agree.
Moscow.
This one says, while individuals have the right to discuss their votes, they must also understand the potential consequences. The country is responsible for preventing election violence, so citizens should balance their personal rights with social responsibility. Evidence says perhaps someone may want to keep records of their votes for their biography many years later when they are gone. Clarity on this matter is needed.
The Supreme Court is busy. Let's not add more work to them.
Dr. Thompson Boama from Adenta says, is it not a case of a lack of education? I doubt the average Ghanaian knows acceptable conduct around the polling station. This one, Dr. Thompson Boama
Okay.
from Adenta says the Constitution, this one says the Constitution is crystal clear that voting shall be by secret ballot. Secrecy is secrecy. Absolutely no one, including the EC, must know who I voted for. Rights are not absolute.
We
They
didn't
are
say
subject
that.
to the rights
You
of
see,
others.
Stephen, you are correct. Oh. What Godfred pointed out, which I used for this argument, was the question of photographing your ballot. And Sky explained that if that photo is used for
distributed.
something, then you are violated. But the mere act of photographing the ballot may not necessarily be a breach of secrecy.
Yeah, you know why? Because I'm reading an author, a professor of mine in Oxford. He wrote a book known as If AI. Is for the philosopher, and he argues that in his explanation of what is secrecy or privacy, he says that if a machine, assuming, sees my nakedness, right, without more, that is not breach of privacy. But privacy comes in only where a third party gets access to that which has been seen by the machine.
Okay.
So let's say a drone goes up, I'm bathing in my chilepa payment, and then I'm wearing
a shot of
I
you.
remove my papangu, and then the drone sees all the goods and services. You understand? Merely because the drone has seen that.
It hasn't violated your privacy
Yes,
yet.
but the privacy issue comes in where
Caleb now.
Caleb is the man busy behind the drone.
You know?
Broadcasting.
You see, so
there are two legs.
the goods and
so let's
services.
look at it.
But having said all of that, we need to reiterate that security officials who are supposed to maintain
Behave themselves.
peace, they need to know that there's a certain minimum conduct required of people in uniform.
Yeah.
The reason you have the uniform is for us to recognize who you are and the authority you represent. So your behavior in public at a voting booth should be above reproach. So we condemn entirely anything you do which is untoward in a polling
But
center.
what is it about makeup that lets us fight over takeaway, water, t-shirts, everywhere? But if it's a wedding, we will fight. If it's an engagement, we will fight. Outdooring, we will fight.
It's poverty.
Election, we will fight.
It's poverty.
So far as food in that takeaway white takeaway pack comes,
It's poverty.
why did Bernard get one and I didn't get one?
It's poverty.
Who is feeding Abeku and who is not feeding us? What is wrong with us?
It's poverty.
Well, I don't know. It's
Why?
It's poverty.
It cannot be poverty. That a uniformed personnel of this country
can go and
says he is hungry.
to Charlie Sky.
No.
No, was on duty.
No, Sky.
Bernard.
There's a certain reduction in public life.
If you have training,
which is not correct. It's not poverty. There's a certain. I mean, you see somebody urinating near the roadside, and this person is highly educated. Somebody's driving his car. He's in traffic.
That's
he's
poverty of wisdom.
That's my point. So it's not just. So I'm saying that there's certain. Look, when I was young, I used to say that you don't see if a man is in collar as a pastor, it's difficult to see them even eating in public. It's not because eating is a sin. There are certain when you have a certain position.
Same with lawyers.
I've never seen a chief eating in public.
It's a lady in the
You get it? So there's a certain honor we give you because of where you stand, and you shouldn't be doing some things. This has nothing to do with poverty. It's just it's class and it's self-respect.
And the thing is,
It's
Sky,
not poverty.
Sky, listen.
Yeah.
Why do you want so political parties come to feed their agents, and then the political parties will say, "Oh, there are 10 security officers on duty. Let's give them food too." Why?
And by the way, Sky, listen. This is for voters. You see, when they are supervising an election, I recall that there was food arrangement made for everybody who was working on the election program. So this is what we are saying is that you are in a queue to vote as a security person and you are collecting food. That's wrong. Now, if somebody is working as a functional operative and there's food that is given for them as part of their duty, there's nothing wrong with that because they are on duty.
Yes.
Okay.
But
So whether the person
be provided by their employers.
yes, or if in fact sometimes there can be a stock of food that is shared for everybody. So usually you are voting. You notice that sometimes you are voting. Somebody goes to the back to eat a bit and come back because he has to take his break. What we are saying is, I see, a voter should not be taking food from somebody who is to be voted for. That's what you're saying.
Besides that, you see, besides that, let me add to the point. And you missed the point Nathan is trying to make here. If you send me, right, to go and report at a polling station and I'm there, and MPP or NDC or what's the name of it? New Force bring a truckload of food and say, "Oh, we are here to feed those of you who are working." I'm not taking it.
Of course not.
Yes, because I know that very soon I've been told that a truck from my station
Will bring
me food. So when those officers are deployed to those polling stations by the organizations that supervise them, they are also told that, "Oh, when you go at this time, we will bring you food." It is not the business of party functionaries to come and say, "Oh, we brought jollof for the EC officials." No, because for a plate of jollof, you don't know what a man can do.
Thank you. So we
Ghana jollof is nice,
because we
No,
don't
what
want.
the jollof is made of.
No, that's the very important. Is it because we don't want? He's saying that we don't want
Don't
to
bring
start,
anything.
because when you start, you know where it ends. So what if that party brings the jollof and then for some reason the other party couldn't bring? They will say, party for these people brought jollof, this people didn't bring jollof. So when I'm counting their own
2 elections ago,
yeah.
2 elections ago,
Stories.
it was an issue because at one polling station, one of the political parties their functionaries were fed by the other political parties. It was a seat that they had, and the seat flipped. But at the chaos that evening,
So apparently so party A didn't bring food. So party B brought food for everybody.
And their people took.
And party A people took some of the food.
Now it was a seat that the other party held. The one that didn't bring the food, they held that party.
And they lost the seat.
They lost the seat to the party
But
that brought
gained
the
the
food.
food.
But gained food.
So which means that someone can even assume that the food was a bribe. So now the officials are concerned can say, Muna Mukoji Jollof D and I go lose
You lose seat, no.
You see,
So
Bernard,
that's why everybody must take care of their people.
you see,
Simple.
So these are
Don't touch anybody.
little ones. Let me raise the bigger ones. Is it wrong for a contestant in an election to go and donate, say, 500 motorbikes to the Ghana Police Service? Is it wrong?
Yeah, I think it's a problem.
Is it wrong for a
problematic.
contestant in an election or a member of parliament to say, I have used my own private resources and have built a police station for
Okay.
this particular
Let me deal with that in my little understanding.
Okay.
In a normal year, like you're in the second year of your term as MP, and you use your resources to do whatever amenity it is, it should
your
not be.
own resources?
It could be yours, your supporters,
Okay.
or it could be common fund to do it.
It's common fund, it's not a problem.
But in an election season, so I will qualify it. In an election season, that would not be wrong. But because generally communities demand development, so whether it's a hospital,
A police station.
yeah. But I get your point. So because police have a key role to play
Must be the state.
in elections.
Yes.
So even if it's not an election year,
Yeah.
once you build a police station, the police have a certain
Allegiance.
they sort of say, he's a good man.
Disposition towards you,
you
which
see-
is why the law
I get you.
is designed
I get
to
you.
prevent private citizens from doing certain things. So you remember that story of your people wanting to fix a road somewhere,
They said they
and
weren't
the
allowed.
assembly said no. But guess what? A parliamentary candidate was allowed to fix the road.
But he's not an ordinary citizen.
Why? It's not the person is not an MP. The person is a
A
candidate.
candidate.
Yeah.
Candidate. No, candidate.
Yeah.
Not
The
not
person is
not,
not
not,
yet
road,
an
the,
MP.
Okay,
the
so-
road that
okay,
the
so-
assembly refused to the residents to fix, a
Allow
parliamentary
a
candidate was allowed to fix.
That's wrong. I think Sky's question was about the MP. So let's assume it's an MP.
So even I'm not a candidate. So the
Oh,
idea.
okay, no. I think if an MP,
Yes, even that is wrong.
yeah, but it's their degrees.
Why?
If a sitting MP
Yes.
can mobilize, so let's talk about Blackwell.
Uh-huh.
We built a hospital,
Uh-huh.
and then he got his people to bring equipment to put in the hospital. That's okay.
Okay. So let's say.
So that's a hospital.
Hold on. So
Yes.
let's say yes, there was a need. Let's say at that very event, he says that look, I'm giving you these things. You have voted for me, and I'm working hard. I'm giving you these things so that on December 7th, right, you remember what I have done for you.
But that's what they all do. But he won't say it explicitly. I think the police is where the issue is. So we are talking about hospital. Let's take it one by one.
Okay.
So let's take it one by one. There are some things that are social in nature. So you build a school, you build a hospital. We all use it, whether NDC or MPP. I think the problem occurs when somebody who's supposed to be a referee. So you're talking about a police. Do you get it? Or a judge. So is it right for politicians who are not like ministers, like not the state, acting in their personal capacity to provide amenities for, say, security people or for judges? So, for example, can an MP donate motorbikes to a police station, as you said, or can an MP build a courthouse? For so maybe I am in Biakuye constituency. We don't have a proper court. We all have to go to Buem. So we want to build a court, and I'm the sitting MP. So I mobilize resources and say, let's build a court. Should the judicial service allow it? I think not. I think not, because when it comes to policing and judiciary, institutions, don't forget we talk about independence. I told you that if you are not consciously independent, you subconsciously become compromised. I don't think we should allow people to be building police stations who are private citizens. We should not allow private citizens to be building courts. They can build schools because schools serve the public, hospitals serve the public, but
But the
police
police also
station
serve the public.
no. But the police have police have a mediating role. The police are referees when it comes to conflict. So police, judge we shouldn't allow. A hospital is a neutral facility. He may benefit from it for votes. That's okay.
Yeah.
But it will not compromise the delivery of health care to people in the basis of whether he is from NDC or MPP. If he says, I'm building a hospital, therefore only NDC people should go there, that's a problem. So I'm saying that, you see, one of the things they say to us is independence from who you cover. Police, judges, we shouldn't put them in a position to be needing civilians to be building hospitals, to be building police, giving them
Infrastructure.
motorbikes. It's wrong. Because if I am the MP and I give him 50 motorbikes, the commander has my number on speed dial. It's completely wrong. So stretching the argument, I remember when people started building hospitals and we were like, no, this is not a police
Stations. We've done this on
we
the
said,
show
no,
before.
this is not right. We should not outsource the infrastructure of our security services
The private individual.
and our judges. No, because that weakens their independence. It makes them
Compromise.
yes. It's like this is such a noble guy. Maybe he's doing cocaine. Why should he be building a police station for me? We don't accept it. We don't accept it.
So here is. You see, so what I'm urging now is that it is possible to draw a bold line of distinction between a good act and moving on from there, the intention behind it.
Okay.
So yes, I may be a politician. I may be, I just know that this particular constituency of mine, there's a serious need in this place. So I am building the police station to address that need.
No, the police administration and the police council should actually explicitly say that private citizens should not be involved in building police
But the
stations.
intention is not to compromise the police service.
Compromise is not an intention. It happens. It's relationship. The reason you see when you say you are independent, you don't. If you are talking to somebody every day, you get attached to the person not intentionally.
Okay.
It is the exposure to the thing that makes you compromise. So intention is not the key issue in independence. It's the likelihood of being compromised because you are indebted to the person. And I'm saying that you see, our security agencies, IGP is now building a new police headquarters. They've sort of built like some barriers and things. I don't even think they should take
Private donations.
private donations for that. The state must take care of the police. The state
is building all kinds of
the
things.
state must take care of the judges. They should not leave judges in a situation where they need support from, because you see, you will appear before him.
That's a difficult
Sky,
one.
you are a lawyer. You always talk about ethics.
Yes, that's
All right.
Yeah.
If you are going to appear before a judge,
Yes.
will it be right to send the judge a Christmas hamper?
No, it's wrong.
Why will it be wrong?
You see,
Is the judge hungry?
Okay, no.
But you won't send it to him because you will appear before him one day. You don't want him to favor you over Nathan.
Yeah.
Now, why should a private citizen be providing those
Amenities.
things?
You see, this question came up when the former Chief Justice, the one before the immediate past one,
So-
Inimyiboa,
Yes.
when he appeared before the vetting committee to be vetted, the question was, just as you asked, his answer was that, look, he doesn't think that merely because a judge is given kuklu, chicken, by somebody, that means that the judge becomes compromised. That in our tradition, gift giving in situations like that, without more, do not raise issues of possible compromise of the person who is receiving the
Well,
gift.
maybe I don't know what question he was answering, so I will not comment. But what I will
No,
say,
it was
what I
a
will say
similar
is
segment.
that it depends. It's Sky. Do you know that when you work with international agencies, there are even categories of gifts? So I'll give you an example. When I visit countries as to do my work,
In fact, before you do that, let me just stretch it a little bit. You know, when you go to a chief's house,
Yeah.
the tradition, the requirement is that at least you don't go to a chief's house
Yeah.
alone, naked.
Yeah.
You normally must have something.
No
under
problem,
your arm.
and I'll address that.
Does that mean that when the chief, who is the man who mediates over
Yeah.
conflicts in your area, if he's sitting on your matter to decide the same,
Yeah, I
he's
can explain-
compromised
I
by
can
reason
answer
of.
that, I can answer that.
Okay, go on.
Countries that are serious about development, they have rules on what is an acceptable gift.
Okay.
So I go to meet an ambassador, he gives me a bar of chocolate. It's a symbolic gift. He gives me a calendar. He gives me a memento of his country's postcard.
If you give him a Rolex, he look at
He
you.
gives me a watch. He gives me. Do you understand? So if I can go to a chief, do a nice. Why do you think the players exchange pendants? I do a nice kente embroidery. I do a portrait of the chief and I give it to him.
With your
I've honored
snap.
him. Beautiful. The question
Don't
we are
forget the
asking
snap.
here is, and see,
The snap.
so I
Deal with the snap.
snap. No,
10 bottles
no,
of
no,
snap.
no. Snap is tradition. Sky, we see.
Good.
Let's stay on coins. We raise a very important Sky. We raise a very important point. Let's not get diverted.
Okay.
We are saying that we are seeing an increasing phenomenon of police, particularly
Yes.
receiving donations of motorbikes, and sometimes people building whole police stations for them. Now, the cynical person will say, if I'm a politician, I'll deliberately deprive them of public funding, so I will turn around and be their messiah. We should not put our security people in a position where they will need handouts from private citizens. Let the state build police stations. Let the state build courtrooms. Let the state provide them motorbikes. Even corporate entities, sometimes you can suspect. Because you see, if a corporate entity is doing tax evasion or insurance fraud,
Yes.
but they're in the good books of the judges and the police.
The building
If they are doing
headquarters,
IRS and IRS wants to use police to catch them, they cannot. So you see, we should be we should not allow. And you see, it's important that even though the argument started about police eating rice, it's the same thing. If you cannot, you see, yesterday somebody sent me a text that I'm being petty for asking why police are being given food in a queue.
Really?
He who is faithful in list is also faithful in match. That's my response. And he who is unfaithful in list is unfaithful in match. If your child steals 1 CD from you, you don't punish them because they've made you bankrupt. You punish them because you don't want it to become 1 million. So they get in front of graphic front page. So a wise parent will not say, 1 CD or we are into Namibono. And yes, he can't into Namibono. It's the fact that he can go to my room and take money that is not his and think and lie about it. In that same vein, if a policeman can be in a queue
voting
and somebody gives him food and he takes it without seeing it as a problem, maybe he didn't demand for it and he took it based on instinct. But having realized where he was and the fact that he's going to vote, he give his back and say, no, I can't take this from you here. Sky, we should not encourage private citizens because the state has failed to start. They can fill the gap by buying polytank for their own house, by planting trees. But to build a police station and to start buying motorbikes for police, it will become a problem soon for us to face. That's how come justice becomes a precious commodity for the poor, because he cannot give anything.
But so would the police take, if I decide to buy uniforms for them, would they take it?
If they respect themselves, they shouldn't.
I'm not asking if they're taking motorbikes, they'll take it.
even where there is a need.
Let me qualify it. This is what I will say. Give it to the assembly. And let the assembly give it to them.
On the uniform bit,
If you are going to give the police motorbikes, and you mean well, of course you also want to benefit from it. But the rec sec should take it and share. Don't go and give it and take a picture of the IDP and be smiling that you're giving the police 150 million cedis to build a police station. When your case comes, they will treat you different. We shouldn't allow that. We should not allow our security agencies and our judges to be so broke that they need handouts from the public. It's not respectful. We must pay them well so that when they sit, they are not thinking about what food to eat. That's the problem. They are so well trained, but sometimes the state deprives them of the basic amenities. Look at how hot the courtrooms are. Hot courtrooms, toilets not function.
I remember that's the
how can you deliver justice when you don't have toilet?
The judge who brings his own fan to court.
No. So
The judge who brings his own fan.
you've raised some high level policy issues based on a thing we thought we're joking with. But I think that we should discourage it. Because politicians, when you give them the chance, they will do anything.
But the conduct of public officers bill has been in Parliament for a very long time.
When is it getting passed?
I don't know. And there have been so many calls for the conduct of public officers bill, which addresses many of these issues to be passed, but it hasn't been. But the big issue, I mean, if I take you a few months back, we had this conversation where we talked about how some seasoned members of Parliament are no longer going back to Parliament. And Bernard, you remember you spoke to some of them on this show, and they told you that it's become too expensive going to Parliament. We have commercialized our votes, and you see, around this time, I would put the blame on the MPs also. When you call them and you ask them questions about the food they are giving, the money they are giving, they tell you, oh, it's a token, it's out of the abundance of my heart, the people are coming. And these are security officials, these are EC officials, these are journalists. If you are telling me that some of the delegates are coming from villages and you need to take care of their transport, how about the security people who are paid by the state? Do they also need food and transport to get work done?
There's an interesting comment a friend of mine has brought, which will end the show today. Bernard, I've lived in an area plagued by constant harassment from armed robbers. A neighbor generously offered his house as a temporary police station to help address the situation. How about this? This one is tough.
It's not.
No, think about it.
It's not.
An area plagued by armed robbery. A neighbor has an extra house. Police don't have a police post there. So he offered his house for it to become a police station.
The municipal assembly don't have properties.
They don't. No, even they don't care. So the neighbors came together and one of them offered. And then the police said, well, since we have the building, we'll move there. So the police were just waiting for a building to come. So they sent them in.
So what if 10 houses, 10 streets away, another neighbor says, okay, I'm also having issues.
No, it's the whole area.
Yes, but the house, that particular area is being plagued. That lane was being plagued.
Not the lane, the whole area.
No, but the person who offered the house probably has been a victim.
Yes.
So I'm also saying that if Sky lives 10 streets away
Then
and has been a
there must
victim,
be another police
and his boy's quarters is
but
available.
but the police station is no. Let's take it one by one. The police station is for the whole community.
Okay.
That's what you think.
The community came.
The person just paid for private security.
It will compromise the police.
The person just paid for private security. Forget it.
So, state, do your work.